Last Q4, I sold over 492 grand on Amazon in a 30-day period, and in this video, I'm gonna walk you through a full Q4 domination guide to help you smash past your Q4 goals. And if you're interested in working directly with me to maximize this Q4 with all my coupons, tips, tricks, one-on-one call with myself, weekly group calls and everything, I'm gonna leave a link down below in the description to apply for my coaching program. If you're interested in working directly with me, take a look at that. Either way, enjoy the video. All right, guys, let's break down how I sold $492,000 in 1 month with Amazon All in Arbitrage, a full Q4 domination guide. So it really got started back in Q4 2021 where I smashed 35K plus profit in November, which was only 8 months after getting started, right? And 50K profit in December from my parents' house, absolutely ripping, like just absolutely destroying FBM. And for Q4, the totals were about 492K for a 30-day period, and it was like late November to mid-December with 80K profit. Just barely missed 100K profit for a 30-day period, and my best day ever was that 43 grand with over almost 10K profit, 8,500 right there. So we're gonna break down a ton of important stuff, the Q4 timeline, how to approach it, myths you'll hear online to avoid, sourcing during Q4, getting bulk product, how to easily find hundreds of Q4 leads, common beginner mistakes to avoid, how to dominate FBM and FBA at the same time, repricing tips for maximum profit and velocity, Black Friday strategy, supplies to have, the FBM Manifesto, FBM Shipping Costs, templates, utilizing pickups. And there's gonna be tons of nuggets to go through throughout each section. I'll leave timestamps as well if you wanna hop around and look at specific topics. And then I'm also gonna leave a link to this document in the description if you wanna view through it and scroll through it on your own right here. So let's talk about the Q4 timeline and how to approach it, right? So you'll see a ton of conflicting info the next couple months, and from someone who's done nearly 500K in a 30-day period, I feel like I really know my stuff on this, right? October is gonna be business as usual. There, as you can see, there isn't gonna be tons of stuff popping off. You aren't gonna be able to snag the buy box left and right with FBM the way you will be able to during December. But, you know, next week, guys, getting into November is where stuff starts to get fun, right? Seasonal stuff starts to pop off. Early November, there'll be some early Black Friday sales as well, but this is where you, for the most part, want to keep sending FBA inventory. Now, I love the idea of trying to get some FBM buy box share here and there. It's not going to be as doable right now as it will be during December, and it's really not going to be doable much at all unless you're in 0-day handling time and using repricing software. But Black Friday is where the fireworks really begin, right? So Black Friday is when you can buy cheaper inventory than you can literally all year, right? In my opinion, if you're sub 50K a month, this should all be FBM immediately when it arrives as price and demands really start to pop up. But obviously you got to do what works for you and, you know, take it by ear right there. The FBM stuff really gives you an insane amount of flexibility and leverage to sell products really fast and replenish them even faster, right? You should be listing stuff the second it touched down, selling through and doing whatever you can to get your hands on more of them, right? December can and should be where you change your life, right? Once December 5th hits, December 5th to the 15th are really like the best days. FBA sellers start to sell out and prices go to the moon, and buy box share has nowhere to go but to FBM sellers, right? So you should be pumping FBM wars like your life depends on it, doing in-store pickups for retail arbitrage over time, and attempting to overwhelm both yourself and your local post office. You should be repricing all the time, which means, you know, using repricing software and updating your minimums. And please do not worry about thinking to yourself, like, when will Q4 calm down? The data's gonna tell you, right? Foot on the gas, run it up, and then the data's gonna tell you when it slows down, which will probably be the week after Christmas. So many of you guys reading this are gonna fly past your, you know, 2-3x your current sales and see how easy and simple it was along with the right, hard, consistent effort daily. You'll know when it's time to go deep on products. For now, just test, and then when something sells really well, you know, go deeper on it. But don't worry about not being able to source more inventory in December. With the way prices shoot up, it's really doable, and I mean, I'm gonna cover in this video, but you really shouldn't have to source much during December at all. Common mistakes, myths to avoid. So myths you'll hear online to avoid. Let's discuss some myths you'll see online, right? You should be stocking up on products to sell during December now. This is horrible advice because it messes up your cash flow cycle, exposes you to unnecessary risk, doesn't teach you anything in the short term, and I'd prefer you buy the same inventory at cheaper prices like you can during Black Friday. It just doesn't make sense, in my opinion, to buy inventory now and send it in when you can just buy it cheaper during Black Friday and FBM it or FBA. You know, I don't think you should be doing much FBA after Black Friday, at the very latest, like December 1st for FBA stuff, but I'd prefer you just sell those items quicker. You're gonna hear people talking about online how FBM doesn't scale. There's tons of tweets every year with big body, tons of FBM packages going out, and tons of hyper growth that people are seeing from FBM and seeing that compressed cash flow cycle, selling products a lot quicker. And I know some of you guys watching this have been like, okay, I've tried FBM in the past, but stuff hasn't sold, but that's because you're not on like during these seasonal times, it's very doable to get the FBM buy box, and you can see that in the data on past years. If you look at the 365-day buy box statistics on Keepa, you can see that if you filter to the most expensive prices, if it was last December, there's a good chance a lot of those people were FBM. And now literally people are getting decades of their life back because they saw just how they can make 20K profit a month, right, in December with tons of hard, consistent effort, the right network, the right products, everything like that. And yes, you can still do this with a 9 to 5. You can do this with you're in college. People with a way worse situation than you have done it. So if it's important to you, you'll make it happen, right? Another huge mistake a lot of people see is just completely just deviating and focusing on toys during December, which this definitely works. It just makes zero sense in my opinion to try to learn a whole new category, new coupons, new websites, new order cancel systems, and especially one that's dominated by Amazon themselves, right? Amazon carries a lot of these toys themselves, so pretty much everything shoots up in price and demand during December. Therefore, you should focus on exactly what you do now and let the data do the talking. Going wide, not deep. While this is true during October and November, December is where depth can really make your money, right? You make your money in December on the second order, the third order, the fourth order, both for simplicity and because it's the most profitable thing to do that requires the least work. It takes just as much effort to buy 50 of something as it does to buy 5 of it, and you get 10x the profit. You'll know when it's time to go buy heavy on stuff because stuff will be selling fast, but until then, normal test orders, especially as a beginner. Now, the recommended dates from Amazon, please do not worry about these. I get tons of messages every year about this stuff. Do not look at the emails from Amazon about recommended dates of sending stuff in. These are completely inaccurate, although I wouldn't recommend, like I said earlier, sending stuff in past like late November, December 1st FBA. Do not worry about the recommended dates from Amazon. So Q4 sourcing guide. So 3 main product research methods for online arbitrage that are very effective. Manual sourcing is going to be the most profitable, but it's also the hardest. Right? Manual sourcing is when you go manually onto a website and look for stuff. But that's best during Black Friday, Cyber Monday because pretty much every website has a deal going on. You really only want to be manual sourcing websites you've already bought stuff before when they have a deal going on, which comes from obviously just being in the space, having a burner email to get notified of a bunch of sales, and just knowing your favorite websites, which takes a lot of reverse sourcing and Keepa product finder. Reverse sourcing is the best method for beginners along with just normal retail arbitrage, right? Just using Seller Amp, looking inside the storefronts of other sellers. A big pro tip is you can look at like leads who have performed well in the past and then storefront stock those sellers, as well as if you see stuff going up in price, the people that are in stock on that listing typically are pretty smart if they're still in stock on a listing that shot up in price. So those are good people to storefront stock as well. And then you can just go to like the data buy box statistics right here, filter to 365 day to find the people who did really well last year and then storefront stock those sellers as well. Keepa product finder is pretty underrated too. I don't talk about it much online. I talk about it a lot with my coaching students, but you can filter to see what's gone up in price, what's been stable in price, and that's just incredibly advantageous to take advantage of during Q4. So I don't know why I kind of haven't put out much content about getting bulk product, but that's like obviously a massive component in limiting belief a lot of people have with online arbitrage. So you got to understand that core websites and core ASINs are the key, right? 20% of your inputs, which are in this case suppliers and ASINs, create 80% of your results. Websites typically allow either huge bulk or no bulk at all, right? So finding the ones that allow big bulk and maximizing them is the key, right? Retail arbitrage pickup orders are life-changing for bulk acquisition of products fast, as well as turning items around crazy fast. So there's typically not really order cancels in store, and you can just literally just source online and place pickup orders, which is incredibly helpful. And then what you also need to do is find the optimal order quantities from big websites via testing, networking, and then those are going to be the ones you hammer, right? Less than 10 websites should make up 90% of your sales. If you're not, you're probably not going deep enough and you're probably working a little bit too hard. Right here. Another nice way to find a ton of Q4 leads is, you know, as you're sourcing the next couple months, you're going to see tons of examples of items that went way up in price last December. Add those to just Seller Amp spreadsheets using the one-click export to be prepared to take advantage of those during BFCM, Black Friday, Cyber Monday discounts because every website has a sale going on. So it's really the best time of the year to buy inventory, so you want to be ready for that. An underrated thing is being on the same listing, FBA and FBM at the same time. If you just create separate SKUs, you completely can. This helps you get more buy box share. And the best way to test an item to see if you can FBM a product is to list it for 48 hours in your inventory with 0-day handling time and an automated repricer on. If you want to know the repricer I like to use, you can check the link in the description for a full tutorial and giveaway we filmed this week with BQL. And just test stuff fast and keep it moving, right? October and November are going to be mainly FBA for the most part. There's people crushing FBM as we speak in October, and I want you to do the same. If there's listings that you see other people getting FBM buy box share that you test FBM buy box share on, great things will happen in 0-day handling time. And they're really the only time to FBA during December if your fulfillment centers have been insanely fast and you have big quantity of a product where you can float the stock and FBM the same inventory and then float the FBA stock behind the FBA inventory to sell stuff at the same time. Because on like the best listings, like the FBA and FBM inventory doesn't even really compete, which is absolutely amazing with like the way FC transfer and stuff works. Your competition wants to be lazy and just FBA stuff. Not us though. Let's focus on FBM after Black Friday if you like inventory, if you like money. Right there. So repricing tips for maximum profit and velocity. So once you have like 10 plus ASINs, you're really losing money if you're not using an automated repricing software. My favorite one's BQL. There's an affiliate link in the tutorial. In the description, you can just get started with a $25 per month version right there. My specialty during December is dragging prices to the moon via increasing my minimums. And you should set minimums like just barely below where you want to sell that item for a while, assuming you can get more. If you can't get more of that item, it makes sense to set your repricer a little bit lower in terms of the minimum just because you don't really care to protect that, so you can be a little bit more aggressive. This puts responsibility on you to protect listings long-term in terms like if you're thinking long-term with the business and just want to have optimal pricing long term. So play around, figure out what's worked for you, what works for you repricing wise, and just understand that a lot of people are actively, that really make the most money with this stuff, are actively updating repricing all the time. Like I said, during December on peak days, the 5th to the 15th, I reprice every few hours. Most people end up tanking their own listings by accident by not being diligent enough with it and seeing if something's selling incredibly well, you might want to go ahead and raise that price right there. Every margin point you got to fight for, right? During December, they should be at least like 3 to 5% higher total in terms of like I'll like rip like 20% net in December, routinely for certain like huge days and even like close to the whole month, not including cash back, just because stuff's a lot more profitable, the volume's up, and I'm taking advantage of these sales at higher prices and restocking the crap out of inventory as well as it sells really quick because I'm buying from big book friendly websites and retail arbitrage pickup orders. So Black Friday Cyber Monday is the best sourcing of the year, but how do you maximize it? Where do you source? Should you do manual sourcing as a beginner? The best answer is that you need to already know your favorite websites. If you execute daily between now and BFCM, you will, right? Make sure to have a burner email, sign up for as many newsletters as possible to get notified of sales, and some Black Friday sales even start the week before Thanksgiving, so you need to be positioned to be notified ASAP to take massive advantage of this stuff. And BlackFriday.com has articles from past years for deals for popular websites, which is incredibly helpful as well. Been getting a lot of questions about how to know when to go deep on different items, and I completely understand and empathize with some of you guys who are a little worried and intimidated about buying heavy on stuff when you haven't already sold it out very fast. That's exactly why I want you to avoid that, right? Keep testing stuff the same way you normally would, maybe a little bit deeper prior to BFCM, and then replenish that stock heavy after you've already proven it, right? You don't want to expose yourself to any unnecessary risk, right? So just slowly scale up at your own pace, right? And understand that we all have our own risk tolerance right there. And then, December, your sales should really outpace like crazy, and almost everything can still be bought profitable throughout December just because sales keep going. And even if the item's more expensive, but the price on Amazon went way up, then you can still buy it elsewhere. And that's why I really like a lot of these big flagship brands that are carried on tons of different websites. So some common beginner mistakes to avoid. So don't deviate focus, right? Anything you sell now probably is going to sell better during Q4 and December. Listen to your own data. This is incredibly huge. You'll know when it's time to buy a lot of products because you sold a bunch of them, right? No need to expose yourself to unnecessary risk. Not locking in and taking full advantage of this. I see all the time like people talking about like optimizing lifestyle and stuff, and we obviously all have our own goals, but this is the time of year when you really realize your capabilities. You see that you don't have to be stuck in 9 to 5 forever. This is not the time of the year to focus on the 4-hour work week or delegation virtue sitting. This is the time to lock the hell in and realize your potential. Go hard the entire month, and you'll view money in a completely different way by January. Making 6 figures on an annual basis is incredibly hard, but also incredibly doable, and many of you guys will realize this in December, and I can't wait to see that happen. Right now, a lot of you guys are still hiding. You hear me talk about success all the time, but your friend group of Amazon sellers ultimately determines your success. Typically, I can look at someone, and based on the 5 Amazon sellers they talk to most on a day-to-day basis, I can show what results they're going to get. And the vast majority of you guys watching this don't talk to any, right? So you need to get online, start documenting your journey, and just imagine the leverage and connections you build if you started now and documented your entire growth from now to the numbers you're smashed past December. And it builds off each other in that, like, the more stuff you sell, the more you have to document online, the more sellers you meet, which leads to more opportunity and more stuff you get done, and then more stuff to post. It's a flywheel. You can scroll back to 2019 and look at me grow up on the Flish for Miles page, and that was like by far one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. And then also just not repricing often enough. December gives you the opportunity to take listing price to the moon via raising minimums just in a smart way, and just, a way that worked for you. And I just became a pro at this last year and legit made an extra like 1K profit a day a few days in a row due to just the math of increasing profit per unit by like 4 on certain listings. Right there. Supplies tab. Please don't overthink this, guys. Do not overthink the supplies, but 9x12 poly mailers, 12x15 poly mailers, in the range like 15 by 12 by 10 boxes, or like 14 by 10 by 6, stuff like that. Walmart, Uline, Staples, all those are applicable. Free 4x6 labels from UPS website, which you can check out. I think it's like 1 unit of the big 4x6 labels, but if you just email them, you can get them, a ton of them for free. And then tape and tape guns, easy. Small supply of 4x8 bubble mailers. If you do a lot of B-Duns, or obviously more, but you're going to be restocking a lot of stuff from Amazon Prime or just at your local Walmart. It's like you don't need to worry about being prepared. Like, you should be way more worried about having tons of leads to buy a great network too, right? And this is the FBM Manifesto overall, right? You need to FBM during the December time period. I know it takes a little bit extra time, but year after year I see people's entire lives change the same way mine did when they see their capabilities expand, and we just don't have time for stuff to check in FBA at the speed we need to. If you make under 20K a month profit at your current job or occupation, in my opinion, it's legit crazy to not FBM, considering the hourly rate at your job is so much lower than what you can get FBMing, especially once you start to consider going deeper on products as well. FBM shipping costs is something that gets screenshotted. For the most part, it makes the most sense to buy shipping through Amazon. Occasionally do it through Pirate Ship if Amazon's crazy expensive. Don't do it through Pirate Ship often, because you end up sacrificing like some of the insurance you get through Amazon. It'll be rare that you'll need to. Just buy whatever's cheapest, but for the most part, below 1 pound will go USPS, above 1 pound will go UPS mainly, although it is starting to change with USPS Ground Advantage, but like I said, you're going to be buying what's cheapest anyway. And then make sure you have your shipping templates optimized. I'd recommend doing free shipping for standard orders, and then expedited, 2-day, and all that kind of fancy stuff, something like $20 plus $1 per pound. People will pay a ton to get items faster, so you can just juice your profits by doing this correctly. And occasionally, even for standard orders, Amazon shipping will be very expensive. Just go to buy shipping via Pirate Ship, copy and paste it over. It's just the nature of the beast sometimes. That'll come up. You should never get screwed on shipping cost. If you're struggling to get sales FBM, make sure you move your general shipping settings to 0-day handling time to skyrocket your buy box share. Ship next day if needed, and it'll change your handling time back to 2-day once you're making lots of sales, which in December you won't need to be in 0-day handling time. Occasionally, if you ship an item late, that can be fine. Don't let it happen, but like occasionally it can happen, here and there. Don't let it happen often though. Utilizing pickups is incredibly helpful. Just via UPS pickups, go via Pirate Ship. USPS pickups are completely free on the USPS website. Make sure you're on good terms with your drivers, and just, overall, guys, it's important to, ask questions. I'll be live streaming like pretty much daily throughout the end of the year. If you guys got questions, let me know. If you're interested in coaching, definitely go ahead and apply at the link in the description, and just let me know any Q4 questions you guys got, and I will see you in the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed this Q4 domination guide. Let's get after it, ladies and gents.